Yo, I'm Geda and I'm developing a game in solo. And this month, well, I took some vacations. But I still managed to work on the fishing minigame that won't actually be that mini. Things moved fairly quickly, mainly because several months ago I had already built a small prototype for a fishing mechanic. Even though that first version was just messy proof of concept, having that foundation meant I knew exactly what I was aiming for. So, rewriting everything properly and integrating it cleanly with the rest of the guesthouse gameplay didn't take as long as it could have. And here's how the fishing gameplay works. Like all the guesthouse activities, the idea is to take a simple, familiar gameplay loop and reinterpret it in a fresh, unexpected context. This time, I'm borrowing the mechanics from a classic JRPG turn-based battle system, but for fishing. To my knowledge, no game has really transposed a turn-based battle system into a fishing minigame before, but if you know one, share it in the comments as I would be very interested to learn about it. Anyway, in this setup, the hero and the fish face off in a battle of endurance. Instead of HP, both sides have stamina. The player will need to choose the right skills and manage their stamina carefully to wear the fish down and catch it. But there is a twist. Unlike traditional turn-based combat, the turn order isn't fixed. I borrowed the idea of a moving gauge, something you see in many fishing minigames. When the gauge is centered around the target, the player gains action points, or AP, and when it drifts away, it's the fish that gains AP. Every action for both the player and the fish costs 1 or more AP, so players have to decide: do they build up AP to unleash more powerful skills, or do they play it safe and use basic action frequently? Throughout the adventure, guests can teach the player new skills if their satisfaction is fully maxed out during their stay. So, even though this is technically a minigame, the player's fishing abilities will evolve over time. By the end of the adventure, they'll be able to catch much stronger fish than at the beginning. And hey, if this kind of weird turn-based fishing battle sounds like something you enjoy, don't forget to wishlist the game on Steam. It's free, it helps me out a ton with the visibility, and it lets you know the moment the demo drops. Alright, back to the dev stuff. Back when I worked on the cooking activity, I talked about finally locking down on a clear art direction for the UI. For this second activity, the fishing, I'll be reusing the same visual language to keep everything stylistically consistent across activities. Right now, what you're seeing in the footage are still placeholder assets from the old prototype. They'll be replaced later with proper icons and backgrounds that match the new UI style. And since this isn't a concept anymore, I took the time to build a solid UI framework for all the in-game menus. Before, every time I needed a new menu, I'd manually drop in background images, adjust text fonts and colors, set up controller navigation, handle interaction individually. It was messy and time-consuming, but now I have built a fully parameterized menu templating system. It uses shared backgrounds, borders, icons, ensuring visual consistency across the entire game. It took a while to build, but from now on, creating a new menu is just a few clicks, and more importantly, it's much easier to maintain. If I decide later to change, let's say, the border style of my menus later, I only need to do it once. The change automatically propagates everywhere. The trickiest and most time-consuming part, though, was implementing the controller navigation system. You'd think Unreal would have an easy built-in way to handle gamepad navigation for menus, but either I completely missed it or it just doesn't exist in a simple way. So I ended up building my own navigation system from scratch. And finally, I saved the most boring part for the last. The biggest time sink this month was updating the entire project to Unreal Engine 5.6. Normally this isn't a big deal, but this time the update revealed a massive technical depth I didn't even know I had. Because I learned blueprint scripting entirely by myself, I naturally picked up some bad habits over time, shortcuts made out of laziness or simply because I didn't know better. And in this case it was using circular dependency, which looks something like that. Script A depends on script B, but script B also depends on script A. And this is something you really want to avoid because it can cause memory optimization issues. Unreal 5.6 became much stricter about this circular dependency, and that's how I discovered the full extent of the problem. It was everywhere. And this is exactly what people mean when they talk about technical debt. The longer you let it pile up, the worse it gets. So I spent about half of September cleaning all that up. It was extremely boring, but at least now the debt is finally paid off. And that's it for this month recap. Shorter than usual, but I'm back from vacation fully recharged and ready to jump back into development at full speed. Next month, the plan is to finish the UI for the fishing activity, finalize the gameplay, and if all goes well, start working on the third and final minigame that will be part of the next year's playable demo. Thanks again for watching and for your continued support. I'll see you in the next updates. Have a great month, everyone.